Hello Stitchers, welcome to another cross stitch WIP parade here on Flosstube. I know there are so many this summer mid-year WIP parades and I am excited to get to jump in and join you and everyone else in all of the fun. I have my WIPs here. I have a crate of WIPs and we're gonna go through them. And a couple other fun things in this episode will be a giveaway, a little bit of stitchy haul, and at the very end I have some fun book news / historical fun fact if you enjoy that sort of thing. So I hope you have fun with me today. My name is Joanne, the Story Stitcher, and I am honored that you found me here. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. Welcome if you're new. And I wrote down a little quote by C.S. Lewis that I thought applied very nicely to the Flosstube community and to cross stitch. It says, friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, "What, you too? I thought I was the only one." And I decided to write down that quote because I think it's really sweet and I think it applies immensely to the cross stitch world and everyone here on Flosstube. I have noticed that my life has completely changed having found cross stitch last year, and it's only gotten better and sweeter in that regard, having lovely things to stitch on, lovely videos to watch out there, and to enjoy and appreciate everyone's cross stitch pieces near and far. So welcome to another one of those with my WIP parade. A little bit about me. I live in California. It's nice and sunny here. I am married. My husband and I each have 3 children, so we have 6 kids between us, and I'm also an author. I write novels, and I've chatted about those in other videos, and there's some links down below, and I will show you a little fun surprise later on with that as well. Please say hello to me on Instagram. My Instagram is Joanne Bischoff DeWitt, which is my regular name, and that's where you can find me on Instagram, and I post about lovely little things, including cross stitch, books, and just overall encouragement and little life updates. So I would love to see you there if you are on Instagram. I started a journal since my last video of all of my WIPs. I don't have a book of days, and I could get one, but I am up to my elbows in journals these days. So with my WIPs, and then a lovely viewer commented with the suggestion of, for my master set, which is, there's 2 drawers behind me, to make a little checkout list for when I borrow something from my master set. So I have started that. The DMCs that I have checked out and where they are going, that is a WIP I haven't started yet that I'm excited to share with you really, really soon. So I'm going to refer to this a little bit throughout the WIP parade so I can give you all the good details of the stitches. I'm terrible about saying those sorts of things. So if I don't say it, just know that 99.9% of the time I'm stitching it 2/2. Unless it's Ada. If I ever say 2/1 or 1/2, I've lost my mind, because that's really not what I have with you today. The reason for that is because I've only been stitching for a year. So these are some of my finishes behind me that I recently got framed, and just learning the ropes and gaining momentum. And so I'm excited to show you where things are at today, almost to my 1-year anniversary. Let's start with a WIP. This is a new start, and you saw this in my last video if you watched that with Mother, and it is Voice of the Shepherd. It's a Told in the Garden piece. I'm trying to find the right pouch in my stitchy bag. There's Voice of the Shepherd. It is so beautiful. Of all my pieces that I'm going to share with you today, this is my heart stitch. This is soul food. I can't even describe how meaningful this one is for me with everything that I'm going on in life. And you all have heard about that in my last couple updates with some health things and all of that. This one has been a treasure. And I made some progress since last you saw it. I have made progress on every WIP I'm going to show you today, I think, except for one. So that's pretty good. I tried to touch them all this month or recently, and here it is. This is what I have gotten done. The last time you saw it, I had just done this little roof line and I was waiting for the red that my mom brought me that day. And I had done some trees. So my husband and I spent a weekend up in the mountains, a couple weekends up in the mountains, which were very refreshing. And I stitched my little heart out on this, and I have enjoyed every single bit of it. I'm a big lover of Told in a Garden, and having a pattern, have a couple, having this in my hands was one that I had to grab off of, I think I grabbed it off of Etsy. And so working on this has been a joy. And the fabric is 32 count. Ooh, I have it written in my little book. Should we assess the book? Let's see. Okay, it's 32 count Lugana in the color taupe. I feel so professional. And it's 2/2. So I really like 32 count. I love 28 count. I've done a little bit on other counts, but you'll see where we progress it. Those are kind of my standbys. What I'm enjoying so much about this one is that it is a lot of block stitching. You have variety, you have color changes, you have a beautiful color palette. This color palette is so pretty, but it's not overwhelmingly confetti. And so right about the time you do a thread or 2 or 3, you're changing up your colors. So to me, it's just right. It keeps it interesting without being too terribly difficult. I couldn't recommend this pattern more. Here's the full piece of fabric. And it's gonna grow with time. Oh, my floss, here, my floss away bags. I call them floss away bags, but they're just little Aldi's. If you shop at Aldi's, I hope that gives you a giggle. I meant to say Hobby Lobby, and I marked it Voice of the Shepherd because I sometimes snag floss from other kits, or because I like to keep not too much floss because I'm really frugal. And so that way, if I do snag something to go do something with another project, I don't lose where that has been kitted up. And so that is WIP number 1. And I'm gonna try and stay organized. Let's see how long it lasts. What do you think? You think it'll last long? Probably not. I've already forgot the pattern. Let's slide that in there. Usually, as you all know, things just go flying everywhere for my videos and many other people's videos. Let's set the bags here when they're done. And I suppose I could fold these up. It was so luxurious to iron these. I don't want to fold them yet. I'm just going to put that there because maybe I'll take a picture for Instagram. Number 2 is a Halloween stitch. There it is. I am doing this one, Blueberry Ridge Designs, and I think it's called, I always forget the name of this one because it's kind of vague. It's Sampler Holidays Halloween. So it's a series and it's the Halloween edition. Isn't that cute? I love it. And I will show you the fabric that I've done it on, and I've made progress on this one. If you've watched some of my other videos or WIP parades, let me show you where we're at. My projects are too far away. Now I can reach it without going out of the frame. Here's what I have. I had so much fun on this recently. I am doing this on vintage smoky white. Let's get the count, my friends, because we don't want to forget that. To tell you that it is 32 count, and of course 2/2. There's a smoother way to do this, and I might figure it out, but right now I don't. There it is. I love it. It's gonna be bigger. This line here is the halfway point, so it should fit, no problem. And again, it's that beautiful vintage smoky white linen, which this is one of my favorite neutrals for whites. And so since I didn't have the called for, which is very pretty, I did look for it when I was at a cross stitch shop. I went ahead and used this, which was in my stash, because I think it is very, very pretty. And actually I like this a little bit more because I think it goes more with my aesthetic, which is, I'd say it's kind of cottagecore would be my aesthetic. And this works really well. So the last time you saw this, I had done this section. I went up, I did some more of the little doodads, and I stitched the pumpkin, the crow, the house, and the berry bowl, along with the moon since last time. And this one is also 2/2, but this is that one project where I couldn't decide, because I was new to 32 count, if I should do it 1/1 or 2/2, and you all helped me decide. But this is that one where border is 1/1 because that's where I started it, and then I switched to 2/2, and you all encouraged me not to tear out the border because it looks cute. No one cares. I would say no one knows, but I just told you, but no one cares. I hope no one cares. If you care, I understand. But it gives it kind of a lacy, I tell myself it's kind of cobwebby. And so I also went down and I did do more of that border. And I love this one. I'm enjoying this so much as a monochromatic piece because they're just really good when you have a monochromatic piece in your WIP pile that you can jump to, that you can kind of change things up. And honestly, it's really when I want to simplify and just something that's very grab and go. You don't have to read any kind of a floss key and you just get to stitch your little heart out. That's what I enjoy about this one. And I am doing this one in DMC. You can do it in, there's a fancy floss that it calls for. Of course, I just stuck it in the bag and now I can't find it. But there, it does call for, it might be weeks. It might be weeks onyx. I could be mixing that up. I'm also doing the first one that I showed you in DMC. I do a lot of DMC. There's a couple you'll see where I'm using the fancy floss, but because I'm newer to cross stitching, I tend to appreciate a good old DMC conversion, and that's what this one is. And I was worried it'd be a little bit boring being all black, and I do think that would be probably more fun doing it in the fancy floss, but I don't have any regrets. One of the reasons why I did the DMC is because I do usually stitch 2 threads. Since I stitch on lower counts, that it's a little more cost effective, and I like that. So that is number 2. And we are, let's look at, I know which one I want to do next. Let's do this one, which is my very first Nora Corbett. My very first Nora Corbett. And I found in this magazine and it had a Nora Corbett in there. And I inherited this from a stitcher. And I'm so thankful that I did because it is absolutely beautiful. So I told you the story about this in a recent video, so I won't go on and on and on. However, this is my first Nora Corbett. It's my first pretty lady, and it is called Victorian Christmas Eve. She is so beautiful in her red coat. It's not even a red dress. It's a beautiful red Victorian coat. She actually has a blue dress on. Really beautiful, and got inspired by the Hugo Stitcher as well as Fibers and Floss Canada from their lovely Mirabilia series and their Nora Corbett series to give it a go. So I kitted it up because it doesn't take a lot of floss. And this is the one that is, I haven't made any changes. If you've already seen it, it is in the same place. Because I was so busy stitching on everything else last week. There it is. This is the very top of the ribbon, the top of the garland, right there. So my plan was to get these little black stitches here of the arbor frame. That wouldn't have been hard, but I didn't make it. I didn't get it done. So that's where I'm gonna go next and do much more stitching on this. I'm curious if anybody is doing, I just lost my train of thought. There's this thing called chemo brain, and I'm claiming it, even though it's been a few weeks since I've had any of that going on. I'm just claiming it anyway, because my brain just stops working sometimes. What's it called? Christmas in July. There is, I'm wondering if anybody is doing Christmas in July. I'm doing this one for Christmas in July, and really, really enjoying it. So it's the same fabric as Voice of the Shepherd. It's actually the same piece of fabric, that 32 count Lugana in the color taupe. And I have learned how to fray check. I will get better at it with time because that's a hot mess, but that's okay. I learned how to use fray check and I'm really loving it. And I told you last time it was an off brand, or it was one that started with an A. It's this one. I apologize if I tremble. I do shake a little bit right now, but it's not too bad if I steady my hand. There we go. and it's Aleene's Stop Fraying. I like it, but I don't like this squeeze bottle. It comes out in big globs. You have to be very careful. And so what I do, the first time I realized that once I squirted it onto my fabric, and that happened, I thought it was gonna come out this beautiful line. It did not. So I squeezed it onto my finger. I applied it that way, which was also a disaster because then you've got sticky fingers. I'm gonna have to improve my fray check process. And I have gotten a little better, but there you go. Tell me if you have any tips on how to do that really well. With Victorian Christmas Eve, have it all kitted up. Same shebang. My mom and I use these floss bags, or I'm sorry, these project bags. I will try to remember to link them below. I've had them linked below in a lot of videos. We just love them. They're very basic, they're very simple. Loving my first Nora Corbett. It'll be about this big. I think she'll fit very nicely. And I'm looking forward to making more progress. And of course, space for beading. Oh, which reminds me, let me show you the beads. So I think it's very relevant while we have her out. I got, sorry for the crinkle, Whisper White. There it is. It's so pretty. I hope you can kind of see the fluffiness of it. It called for that, which I've never used. I'm sure many of you have used this before on Santas or different things like that. So there's the Whisper White. I got that, and then I got the beads. And it called for whatever that kind of bead is that's really hard to find. The Magnifica. It called for those, and they're very hard to find, as many of you know. I just substituted them because I'm not gonna go and pay a wacky amount of money for a bead. I'm just that kind of person. So I substituted them, which I'm okay with. I got little Mill Hill glass beads, and I think they're gonna do just dandy. Because when I say nobody cares, I mean no one in my house cares. And once it's up, it's gonna look so beautiful. And I am the kind of person that I'm not a perfectionist. I have no qualms with anybody who is, because I love many perfectionists in my life. I just happen to not be one of them. So I can kind of skirt around something and get a little creative with it. I'm fine with that. So I went ahead and substituted those beads. Lots of shimmer. I've never beaded before, but thanks to that tutorial, I feel confident. They had a wonderful beading episode. I think that's gonna be pretty when it joins the ensemble, that Whisper White. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm just excited. So let's tuck everything away. Beads and all. Fray check can go over there. And I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful to have this Nora Corbett in this magazine. It's hard to find because it is an exclusive. So I'd be curious to know if anybody has stitched this or if you have the magazine. It is 2008, January 2008 of cross stitch needlework. I hope as you're watching this video that you're enjoying some stitching. I would love to hear what you're stitching, or just to know that you're out there. Stitching away would warm my heart. So that's what I'm thinking about all of you doing as I do this. And during the season of getting rest and recovery and taking some time off of work, having cross stitch to turn to and fill my days has been absolutely amazing. I think there is something very therapeutic and life-giving about cross stitch or any kind of handicraft that you love or that you enjoy, and that's what it has been to me. So every WIP that I show you isn't just, you know, a cross stitch piece that I've made progress on or whatever else it might be. It's literally medicine to my soul, and it's good for us. I think even our bodies. It's good for our minds, it's good for our mental health, and it increases my peace, which has been healing. It's really important for me, and wherever you are out there, I imagine that everybody is in a different stage of life. Maybe you're a busy mom with little kids. Maybe you're in a stage of life where you're getting a lot of rest, or you've got your feet up. Whatever that may be, I love that cross stitch brings us together, and that it's something that we get to share the love of in our homes, in our lives, and also together here on Flosstube. I am so thankful. And let's keep going. Okay, this next one, it's a little on the small side to be a WIP, but it's still a WIP because it's not done. And I intentionally didn't want to finish it because I'm actually having a lot of fun with it, and I wanted to take my time. And you're gonna see how cute it is in just a second. Can't wait to show you. It is from Alma Lynne cross stitch. Very sort of maybe 90s. What year is this book from? I forget every time. Let's find out. It is from 1990, so it is the 90s. There's the contents, lots of adorable patterns in this book, and that's not the one that I did, but I kind of would like to, just as a throwback, and I'll show you the one that I have done. It's called Country Kitchen. Isn't that sweet? It's smaller than I imagined. I mean, that's a pie. That's an egg. For some reason I thought it was a little bigger, but it's not. So it's nice and dainty, which is actually perfect because I found the most delicious little piece of fabric to stitch it on. Let me show you what I have. And it's a little bit wonky, the fabric, because it was a scrap. So just prepare yourself. This is what I have. And that is my progress. I have a board here actually that I keep forgetting to use because there we go. Isn't it cute? It's on a piece of, I want to say it's fiddler's cloth. It came in some stash that I got from the woman where I got all my goodies, my floss and the magazine. You'll just hear me referencing it all the time. So that estate sale is where I got this fabric. And it was in one of those tubes with the little caps on the end. And I thought, oh, how amazing. And I pulled it out thinking I was going to stitch something very grand. And then I realized that it was just this little scrap. So I thought that's too pretty to waste because I haven't seen this exact fabric at the stores. It's a little bit different and it's a really nice quality of fiddler's cloth. Sometimes I feel like I found a couple that are kind of flimsy, but not this one. Take a look at those pies. I don't know if this is doing it justice, just how cute those pies are with their little blueberries on top. And I cheated. I shouldn't say I cheated, but I changed a little bit. You might be able to see that there's a lot of blueberries on the pies, which is actually very cute. That's very cute. But for some reason, I wasn't in the mood to make that many French knots. So each pie has blueberry. And that works just fine. And I just did my little French knots. So really, really enjoying this one. The alphabet, I'm going to go down and do the basket of eggs and the little verse, the little quote, which will be very delightful to work on. And so hopefully this one will be a finish before long. But as I said, I kind of stopped once I made the amount of progress that I had, because I wanted to work on a couple other projects. And I just thought I really wanted those pies to have their moment in the sun. And I think they got it. I hope you liked seeing that one. And lots of lovely little stitches in here. I'll show you one more. A little goose. I'm a sucker for a goose. I've done a couple. One that's not finished. So I'm not allowing myself to start another goose until I finish the goose that I already started. And that just goes in one of my little project bags. And good as golden. Hopefully I'm giving you all the floss details. Again, all of these things I'm showing you are DMC. Currently, I'll let you know if they're not DMC. And because that's 14 count Aida, I'm stitching it 2/1. 2/1. Okay, let's do the giveaway real quick. Before we go into more WIPs, let's do the giveaway. And I have 2 patterns for you. Actually, I have 2 kits to give away. Anybody can enter these. You know the rules, be 18 or older, don't use the word giveaway. And yeah, drop a comment. I'll give you the secret code to say. So this first one, it's not showing up very well because of that glare. This is called October Sampler Accent by Periwinkle Promises. It's a silk and linen kit. Wow. I didn't realize I had silks before I said I was going to do a giveaway, but let's give it away. And I'll tell you why. A, because I wanted to have a fun little giveaway. And B, because I don't know how to do any of these specialty stitches. I could learn, and I might someday, but I know it's not going to be anytime soon. I'm just going to be cross-stitching and doing a little this, little that. Here's a better shot of it. Hopefully you can see that okay. I don't think it's coming in very well. It's very shiny. And so there are specialty stitches, and it gives you the little details in this cute booklet of how that will go. And then I'll show you the fabric. I'm kind of curious now to find out that these are silks, huh? Wow. I just don't have the heart to take it apart and keep it for myself if I'm not going to do the little kit. I think it's really sweet all together. So that is going to be giveaway number 1. I will package this back up. That's number 1. And I would say for this one, how about you use the word silk? Just the word silk should do to enter that one. Number 2 is also a kit, and it's a Santa Mill Hill. And this is adorable. And I should probably keep it or sell it on eBay or something. But I don't think I'm going to do this anytime soon, and I have another one. This is the one that I have. He's pretty cute. This one is called Kris Kringle, and I'm just going to give you the number because I know there's a lot. MHCSF17. It has the charms, it has the beads, it has the perforated paper, and that cute snowflake. So that's giveaway number 2. Let's say Santa in the comments if you would like to be entered for that one, and I will draw a winner in my next video. These are really sweet. Whoopsie. I got them again, from the stash that I got from the estate sale. And these are 2 that are just going to hang out for quite a while, I think. And I'd rather pass them along because I have a lot of things in line that I'm looking forward to stitching, and I'm going to be adding to that over time. So I just would love to share the love. So drop a comment, all the fun details, be a subscriber, all that good stuff, and I will enter you into the giveaway. Okay, with that done, let's jump back to another WIP. This is my oldest WIP, I believe, if we consult our little notebook here. I can say to you, it's super fun to see that all these have been finished. My first 10, 11, 12 have been finished. Okay, it's not my oldest WIP. The oldest one is the black and white. Yeah, the Halloween sampler is my oldest. And this one is Emerald City. And I have had some ups and downs with this one, which I'm going to tell you about, which is why it's one of my older WIPs. And it's also obviously very large and very grand. It is so incredibly beautiful. I love this one. And it caught my eye. It's a freebie by Owl Forest Embroidery. It was a stitch along. They've got a lot of great ones there. And so I couldn't resist snagging this one. I will show you my progress, and then I'll tell you why it's giving me a little bit of a hard time. Put it on the board there. Very sweet. So I have done, since the last time you've seen it, I finished the wizard. I have a few stitches there. Finished him. I gave him a smirk, which he doesn't have in the pattern, but he just looked like he needed a little smirk. And then I went down here and I stitched the cabin and the cyclone. You can see my hoop ring there. I did iron this, but it's going to take a little time to probably get that out. I had it in there really tight. So that is what I have so far of Emerald City. I am stitching this on I am stitching this on 28 count Star Sapphire Linen by Witchelt, and I am doing the DMC conversion. Couple things are giving me trouble with this. Number 1 has been seeing some other finishes of this and seeing how gorgeous it is with the Owl Forest embroidery floss. So because I kitted this up in my maybe second month of cross stitching, I didn't really have the history with stitching to understand that it's going to look very different when you do the DMC conversion. I didn't really realize that yet. I just thought, oh, it'll look like this and I'll be using DMC floss. It won't look like this because, of course, these are gorgeous, gorgeous variegated flosses that they sell. I didn't buy them, just, again, being cost effective as a newer stitcher and not really having that in the budget. So I learned that lesson, that to now I have the know-how to take a glimpse at a pattern and realize that if it is stitched in overdyes, and I am going to do a DMC conversion, to be a little more mindful of what will it look like, do a floss toss, really think through those details and how will it look? Will it look as nice as I hope it will? Of course, it won't look like the picture, but will it look still quite nice? And so seeing some finishes out there, I know the Hugo Stitcher finished this, and of course many others, seeing that final finish of those gorgeous floss, that gorgeous floss way, or colorway with these floss, I got a little discouraged. That's where we have to be careful not to compare. I don't mean that in a bad way, but just thinking, oh, that looks so beautiful. Mine doesn't compare. That's kind of the narrative that I told myself. And so I put this in timeout for a while. And just because I knew it wasn't going to be as good. And then I had to come to terms with the fact that I don't want to restart it. I don't want to tear it out. I don't want to waste this linen. And let's make it happen. So I decided, let's just roll with it, right? So of course, that's the DMC with a couple of cheats. These are not DMC, and neither are the Yellow Brick Road. I am using some over dyes that I had. They're a different brand. Because I was a little bit unhappy with how some of the details are turning out. Hopefully you can kind of see the monkey there. You can kind of see, I just was a little disappointed. But again, it was naivete as I learned, of course, this looked different. So I am using this project as a learning experience. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing, but it's not going to be perfect. And just embracing those imperfections and using it as a learning process and realizing it's still going to be great and I'm going to learn a lot. I'm probably going to give this to my niece. She likes quirky things and I think she would love a Wizard of Oz stitch. That's kind of my idea. So that's where, yeah, there's some mismatched grays and that doesn't bother me right now. Again, because it's a learning piece, which is really where a lot of the heart of samplers and stitching came in. It's a learning process. The one thing that I know that I don't love is I don't love this green. The green of his jacket and the green of this tree. To me, when you look at the picture, it's a very rich, sort of woodsy green. And I'm not real fond of that teal. I might leave it. My mom said to leave it. But was eyeing this color. This is 502. Thinking, it's not showing up on camera. It looks almost the same on camera. In real life, this is so pretty. For his jacket, for the tree. The reason why I care is because it's the exact same green that I'm going to stitch the entire Emerald City in. And I don't want to stitch that in a green that I don't love. And I don't really love this teal. So that was my other lesson with this project, is learning if I'm going to do a conversion or just really in general to do a floss toss. Make sure I like the floss. And sometimes I feel like DMC conversions can be a little hit and miss if it's an overdyed pattern, if the pattern is designed for overdyes. The other reason for that is you don't quite get the shading. You don't have any shading. You know, it's not like his little pants are going to be a darker purple on one side. So the effect just feels a little flatter to me than I love, but that's okay. There it is, making progress, and I'm going to keep going. The other reason why I stalled out on this one is because I hadn't kitted it up properly. New Joanne just threw a bunch of floss in a bag and thought it would be fine. And I had open skeins, I had mismatched skeins, I was changing colors, it was a disaster. So part of bringing the sun back out of hibernation was kitting it up properly. Is another lesson that I've learned, is you gotta kit things up properly, at least for me. Marked it, of course, Emerald City in case I need to do anything with this floss pack. Very pretty colors, very, very vibrant. There's the rogue teal that Joanne has opinions about. You can kind of see a little bit better. This one's just a little greenier. Anyway, fun colors, so I'm enjoying it. And the other thing that I like about it, I mentioned this from the start, is that it is a color palette that I wouldn't normally do a lot of stitching in. As you can see from my backdrop, I tend to do a little bit slightly more muted tones. Doing something entirely different. I am showing you that it's in a Ziploc bag as well. Sometimes I put things in Ziploc bags. It is good for me to stretch my imagination and stretch my skills. And what I love about this process is that every piece that I'm showing you, and of course all the pieces I finished in the last year, has been a way of a learning process with each one. And I'm sure that will continue for a very, very long time, as those of you who've been stitching for a long time would tell me. Let's just keep the Ziploc bag theme going. I ran out of project bags and I need to buy more, but I just haven't. Here is a new start. You've never seen this one. Here's all the bags. There's those these are kind of the colorways that I like to do a lot of. Don't want to get stuck in a rut though, right? This one is Stitches Through the Years, which is the same designer as Pumpkins for Sale. And I pulled them up and I saw that they had another one. I don't have a very good picture of it, so I'll put a picture of it here so you can see how cute it is. And I'll show you my progress. I am doing this one on a piece of vintage even weave that is a 28 count, and it's just plain white. Here's what I have so far. I did this last week. Little sheep and the garden gate and those little sheep up there and these little leaf trees. More frayed check stuff there. It's my new friend. So I did make a few color changes. I am using the called fors. Again, I'm stitching this with 2 threads. I did make a couple of color changes from the picture because I'm trying to match the picture. And this is another overdyed lesson. Not that a lot of you out there are newbies like me, but this is another overdyed lesson, is I find that the picture, or let me rephrase this. This is another cross-stitching lesson, because sometimes the picture looks a certain way and I feel as though sometimes people don't stitch the sample stitches in the called fors. I've had another pattern where that happened, where the colors were totally different than what it looked like. And so in this picture, I liked how the gate looked a little bit more white. And so I used a creamy white for I think I just used ecru for my fence. It's actually supposed to be in this darker color that you can kind of see right there in the middle. But I didn't want it to feel too much brown, because there's a lot of browns already going on. So I stitched that in ecru. And my mom gave me the great idea to use the called for as the slats of the gate to give it that texture. And I thought that was a great idea. Thanks, Mom. The other color change that I made is, as you could see from her dress, to me, her dress looks blue. It just looks blue. In the DMC conversion, because again, of course I'm doing the conversion, this is the color that her dress should be in. And this is a silvery gray in real life with a tiny bit of a taupe undertone. And I'm just so certain that her dress looks blue in the picture. So I pulled 3 blues, these 3, to play around with. I like this one because it's the closest, but I also like this one. I just really want her dress to be blue like that picture. So that's the change that I'm making as I get to that side. Really fun stitching, really easy stitching. I like this designer. Stitches Through the Years on Etsy. Alrighty, I hope I gave you all the important details on that one. I believe I did. A couple of these are kind of some of the big guns, is how they feel to me. This one, Ooda Lolly. This one is a project and a half. Not because it's big, but because it's hard. You've seen this. I showed it to you. Christmas Journey. I always want to say Santa. Christmas Journey. I love this photo. I love this piece. I do not love this pattern. And you've heard my saga before, so I won't give you the whole spiel again. But the abbreviated version is that in this leaflet, it is by Leisure Arts, and it's obviously a little bit dated. And so there's lots of grace given because things change, processes change. It's a beautiful pattern in this leaflet, but the colors are very saturated. And some of the symbols look just like other symbols because they're so saturated. And so it was very difficult to read, and I was struggling. The other thing that was hard about this is instead of being a 10 by 10 grid, it is a series of 10 blocks of 10, and then there's 1 8, and then there's some more blocks of 10. And you know, just to keep it interesting, it's on the page break. So again, getting started out, that really threw me through a loop. So all of you here helped me immensely, and we are making progress again on Christmas Journey. It was tough, but we are making progress. I can't wait to show it to you. I've gotten a number of tips. One of the tips that I got was to go ahead and buy the PDF. The PDF is $5. You don't need the leaflet, just buy the PDF, especially because they're actually not the same. So now that I have the PDF, I no longer can use this pattern in any way. The grid lines are different. But I love him, and working on this piece has felt like being on this journey, trudging through the snow, carrying a heavy load. And Santa, I feel ya. I feel it. But we have a lantern to light our way, and that is Flosstube and friendship, and it's gonna be okay. So now that I have the PDF, it's on my laptop. I'm looking for my piece. Here it is. It's on my laptop, which is a game changer. So let me show you what I have. It's gonna look a little funny because Santa is just gonna look a little funny. Here's what I have. It's been gridded. This looks so weird off to the side here. That is Santa coming to life there, you guys. His beard and everything. So the last time you saw it, I had done more of this section. I numbered it. That's how hard it was, it was playing tricks with my brain. So I did number it. And I had a little bit of bleeding with my grid because I had to wet the fabric, half of it, and re-grid it. But I did his lantern, I finished his staff, and as you can see, I finished his sleeve. It's really coming together, and I finished the church, and I did all this fill-in. I cannot wait to backstitch this. And one of my favorite things about it is this gorgeous little tree. It's just so pretty. I used to live in the mountains, and we had trees like this, and I love it. What I did with the gridding, see that dot right there? That is the new pattern. Instead of 10s and then an 8 and then 10s, the PDF is 10s and then a 7 and then 10s, just to keep it interesting. So I accidentally gridded it 2 days ago, thinking I'm gonna get back into Santa. And I just finished my gridding and all the 10s, and I thought, Joanne, you forgot to do that row of 7. You forgot. So I had to wash it, dip half of it, and try not to get the rest of it wet. So there's a little bit of bleeding. It came out really nicely. So finally, it's why you see it so done on this side and just confusion on this side is because I was just avoiding that. And as I mentioned, it's still on the page break. So we're making progress. I did all of this Santa, all of his fur, the fur of his coat and his sleeve and some of his beard. I did all of that yesterday at my mom's house. There's 4 colors in there. I think 4, there might be 5. There's a 5th color that I still need to fill in. But gridding has been amazing, very, very helpful. And I just had to get the courage to jump over that crack in the road. That is that 7. And just embrace it and not be scared to think I'm gonna mess it up. Just follow what the chart says. It tells you there's only 7. And I've had a couple of more advanced stitchers confirm that with me because they also have the pattern. Really enjoying it, enjoying the process of having gridded fabric. This is 14 count Aida. I'm using just a marker, and a very, very much a learning curve process for me, as you can see, but I think it's gonna be so pretty when it's done. I really enjoyed this fill-in because it was only 1 color. And the glow of the church, there's gonna be Krynic in this. I'm trying to remember if there's gonna be beads. Is there gonna be beads? There's Krynic filament, which I have, and there are beads. Mill beads, seed beads, red. I'm gonna see if they're in the Santa kit, because then maybe I might regret that. I think those are the same ones. I'm gonna be a good girl, and I'm gonna send this off to the winner, and I'm not gonna wish I kept them. I can get different beads. You already know I'm gonna probably cheat anyway. I might use the beads from my Nora Corbett. So that's Christmas Journey coming along. I definitely want to keep working on this for Christmas in July because I'm really enjoying it. And I'm looking forward to getting to the red of his coat and his big, big Santa bag. I don't know why I'm excited to stitch that big. It looks so real, doesn't it? All puckered and full of gifts. So love it. Absolutely love it. Christmas Journey. I have 2 projects left to show you, and then some other fun things to share with you. The haul and the little bookish details. And oh, I will show you this now. I meant to show you this before we ended, is a sale, a book sale. I know a lot of you love to read. I know a lot of people who like to stitch love to read. And since I'm an author, I thought I should check before I do my WIP parade and see if anything is on sale. And there's a couple books on sale, so I want to share those with you. If you're a Kindle or paperback, we got some sales. So I'm going to just show them to you together. This is The Gold in These Hills. This is my book. And this is Sons of Blackbird Mountain. They're both on sale for $1.99 on Kindle. Maybe on Nook, I forgot to check, but on Kindle. So these are both inspirational romance, so it's clean romance, but there's a little bit of a grit to them to keep things exciting. Not that kind of a grit, more like living in the mountains kind of grit. So this one is set in California, in the mountains where I used to live. There was a ghost town. And so I decided to write a story of what would it be like to be the last people remaining in a ghost town. And that's this woman's story. That's the Golden These Hills. And so Tracy Peterson endorsed it. If you're a fan of Tracy Peterson, Francine Rivers, Karen Kingsbury, that kind of stuff. And there's the back. It's very pretty. So this one is $1.99 on Kindle. If you love your ebooks, you can grab it. It's currently, at the moment of this filming, $1.99. It changes very quickly. So I apologize if you watch this in a few days and it's not. Right now it is $1.99. And the paperback is also on sale. I feel like the paperback was $7.55, which is a great deal. It's under 10 bucks. This one's $1.99 as of the filming of this video. This is Sons of Blackbird Mountain. And it's a family saga set in like an orchard in Virginia. It's a bunch of brothers. They make cider. And it has a little bit of a Viking aspect, a little Viking culture history. And so the designer put that in at my request. I wanted a little bit of a Viking vibe going on. So brotherhood, very, very, I want to say very good. I love it. It's right there. It's $1.99. And this paperback was, I think, $9-ish. So again, another one under 10 bucks. So I had to give you that real quick before I forget. And I know that some of you have already read those. So I'm going to try and remember to share sales, because sales, we love sales. We love a good sale. My mom is a Kindle girl. I'm a paperback girl. So I want to make sure to share both. On to the WIPs. This one is a Jane Austen piece, which is relevant as well because I'm working on a Jane Austen story and a Jane Austen inspired story, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And you've heard about it if you've seen my other videos. But in honor of Jane Austen's 250th birthday, which is 2025, I started a hashtag StitchJane2025 if you'd like to join in. It's not too late. We're only halfway through the year. If you have a Jane Austen piece, if you would like to start a Jane Austen piece, if you have anything that reflects England or Regency or anything that would speak into that part of your soul, you can join in the hashtag. The hashtag did get a little quiet after a while because I didn't film for a while I was going through treatments, and that's basically the only reason. But now that I'm here, feeling a little better, I can talk again about the hashtag. And for this hashtag, StitchJane2025, I am doing Plum Street samplers. And it's a beautiful quote. I'm really, really enjoying this piece. I apologize for the glare. I didn't get this one out of the bag. I made floss tags that are like an old historical writing that I thought would have been like Jane Austen's writing. So that's what my floss tags are. And I thought that would be fun. Really pretty. Here's my progress. This is on Vintage Smoky White. I believe, I want to say it's 20. Let's just consult the book real quick. 25 count, Ugana. And stitching it 2/2 as usual. Very sweet. A very not too hard of a pattern at all. And I've been doing some progress on the pink, and then I ran out of floss. So that was something else that's in my haul, is I did get more. I had to order more of the pink from 123 Stitch, and it came. So now I can finish where I was going. I have a funny story about the floss. I might tell you another time, a little tidbit that I did. I'll tell you when I have a slightly shorter video because there's a fun little story about the floss. I had to do a little floss hack. So stay tuned, subscribe, come back, and you'll see my floss hack. But for now, I have more. And what I did, in addition to doing more of the pink, is I went ahead and I stitched her little face. She's so cute. I did that last week. Her little Jane Austen style hair, very Regency, and her little cheeks and her little mouth. So we're gonna have a handsome man here in his suit soon. But that's what I did. Again, I just stalled out because of the pink, but fun story on the way. That is my Stitch Jane 2025 piece. Again, use the hashtag if you would like to join on Instagram or anywhere. Let me know if you love Jane Austen. I would love to know. And again, you can always find me and tag me on Instagram at Joanne Bischoff DeWitt. I'll put it right here. And it's always in the description box as well. This is the last WIP. And this is another monochromatic piece. This is at the tippity top of my favorites. It is Americana Red by October House Fiber Arts. And it's all done in licorice red. Absolutely love it. But because I am doing it on a larger weave, smaller count than the called for, I needed more floss because I'm doing it on using two strands instead of one strand. Here it is on 25 count. What do you think? Do you like it? I think it looks really pretty. This fabric is one of my favorites. It's called Potato. I love it. I have more in my stash. If you're looking for kind of a quirky, cute country neutral, Potato is great. Instead of having modeling, it just has these little seeds or little, whatever they are. And all that beautiful weeks. No, I apologize. Classic Colorworks. Really loving it. This last time I came over and did this section. And again, it's just such a great little grab and go piece. I wanted it to be that way. Not only just the one color, but because it is a 25 count, it's just really comfort stitching. This little fella is comfort stitching, so it's gonna be big. I've mentioned to you the adaptation that I've made. I won't go into all the details on that one, but I did have to take a piece of the pattern off on the side here, and I have a plan for that. But I know I've talked about that in some other videos, and we will be talking about it again because we've got a long way to go. And that has been absolutely delightful. And someone is sending me another October Fiber House pattern in the mail. Another viewer is sending me some other patterns in the mail. And I've noticed a couple times where people are having a hard time finding me. So my email address is in the description below. It's just a Gmail. And that way, if you ever drop me a comment, and sometimes you lose people in the comments, right? Or you can't find the response where I might say, yes, please do. And then maybe the viewer can't find that comment. It can get lost in the shuffle. I always have my email. I always have my email down below. Now, we're not doing it because we're gonna do a little bit of haul. This video is getting long. So I'm gonna go speedily through haul and speedily through some book updates. But can I show you one more WIP? It's not mine, it's my son's. My son is 13 and he's just a little guy. He's growing up, a teenager, and he is very active. He loves sports. But recently he was a little bit bored. It's summer and he doesn't have anybody to hang out with sometimes. And he has cross-stitched with me before, and then he didn't keep up with it. And then he kind of made some comments about wanting to cross-stitch with me. And the other day he said, Mom, I really do want to cross-stitch with you. And I said, that would be great. What mom doesn't want to stitch and spend time with her 13-year-old son? This mama does. And so I said, yes, absolutely. I would love that. Let's get you a pattern and I'll show you. This is his little kit. This is his little mess, his little 13-year-old mess. I'm not going to show you the pattern full on. That is the pattern. It is a marble pattern. I stole it off the internet. I just Googled marble cross stitch patterns, and this was a little guy that popped up, and I figured hopefully it's available for a 13-year-old boy. And so I showed him, how to make his X's and such, and I got him his floss, and we sat here in my stitchy space and we listened to The Hobbit on audiobook and had a marvelous time. And I think he would give me permission to show you, here's a little hoop, to show you what he did. He said he wants to be on my Flosstube video. He's an extrovert. So hoop marks and all. This is what my little guy did. He didn't make a single mistake, not a single counting mistake. He's very accurate with things. Thor's hammer, Captain America. I don't know the other Avengers or who they're going to be. But this is on a little scrap of cloth that I coffee tea dyed on some 14 count Aida. And it's the only piece that I had for him that was soft enough to fit in that hoop. So I have to show that to him. Hopefully he'll be very proud if he sees his stitch on Flosstube. I look forward to showing you his finish. So that's a little hint for him to hang out with Mom some more. Place an order with 1, 2, 3 stitch to get more of the red that I just mentioned to you, that Classic Colorworks. And I decided just to restash on some fabric. So this came in a big tube, which I didn't really expect. It's a 28 count Monaco. I never used it, so I'm just trying some different fabrics. That one's by DMC. This is for something that I'm kitting up. This is the nicest, most expensive piece of fabric I've ever bought. Fiber on a Whim, Milk and Honey. I know that doesn't sound like a big deal. You guys hear that all the time on Flosstube, but for me, that's a big deal. I've never bought a piece of hand-dyed linen, I don't think. And it is a 28 count. It's a fat quarter, and it's gonna go with these floss because I bought a new pattern from Market, and I cannot wait to show you all. I was hoping to show you today, but the pattern's not here, so we're gonna save it, but this is coming. Isn't that gonna be pretty? I'll show you my Market buy. And then just a couple others, just to kind of restock some neutrals because I was running a little bit low. We got this one. It's a 32 count Belfast linen. I just enjoy sometimes a simple Jobelin. It's what I've done all of these 3 that are framed on by Witchell. It's a 28 count in the color China Pearl, which is a nice neutral for me. And then I got the same brand, but in a 32 count on lamb's wool. So as you can see, just kind of building out my neutral collection a little bit. And then I got this one, which my mom loves. I got her this at the attic, but I ordered some driftwood. It's just a 14 count Aida. And it's a really pretty mottled gray. If you love Aida and you want to do this for some cute pillows or something rustic, or even a really pretty monochromatic piece, maybe with some white floss. So I got all that. I think that I have covered all of the good stitching things, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a book update. If you don't want a book update, I totally understand. It's been lovely meeting you. Please stick around though if you do like book updates with a little historical detail. So I have a book. I have an actual copy of my book that's coming out in October. This is a demo copy. We call them ARCs, and that stands for an advanced reader copy. And this is it. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. This is not the final, the cover is going to be just a little bit brighter, a little bit richer. So this is kind of it's like the rough draft. This is the Heart of Bennet Hollow. This is my Jane Austen inspired novel. It's a Pride and Prejudice retelling. That's me. I love the cameo that the designer put right there. And so you can see it has kind of a temporary back. Again, it's like that demo. So nothing is quite finished, but there's me with a full head of hair, and it's going for my publisher soon. So that's a little goodie that I just want to show you that that's coming. It is available for pre-order. But what I really wanted to tell you about as well is a fun historical fact. If you like history, so because this is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, the Elizabeth Bennet character is a farmer's daughter, but in Virginia, in Appalachia, in coal country. And then my Mr. Darcy character, I set him as a coal baron, and he has come to town. It's a fictitious town called New River, Virginia, and he's come there to scout out the coal mine, which is for sale, and there's going to be a bit of a bidding war between him and some other coal barons, which is what creates tension between him and Elizabeth, is because her father's farm, Bennet Hollow, is in danger. It's in question. Will William buy it? Will he take it out from under them? What is going to happen? And so for his character, I wanted to do a little bit of twist on his house in Pride and Prejudice. His house is called Pemberley Estate. And so in my version, because he comes in on the rails, he has a train car, and it's called the Pemberley. And I use this wonderful book called Mansions on Rails. It's an oldie but a goodie. I got it used, and I thought it'd be fun to show you a quick peek at kind of the historical research side of things as an author. Let me show you a picture of the train cars. I'm trying to find you a really good one, and then I lost my page. So here's an example of what those train cars would have looked like. And in my book, he lives on one of these, except for in my book, the Pemberley has 2 glass observation domes over the dining area and then over the back, which is his office. And as you can see, there's these amazing layouts where they have your entries, and then there's always like a little galley, a little kitchen, and maybe some servants' quarters. And then there's your dining area, and then there would be a hallway, and then the bedrooms. That's how I have mine set up. And on the back, I put his office under that glass observation dome. And just some beautiful artwork. Look at that ceiling of what those trains would have looked like. They were so glitzy, so glamorous, and they were truly homes on rails. Beautiful dining rooms. So that's my historical detail for you. I won't go too long with it, but it was so much fun to get to research trains and come up with a very, very glamorous way for Mr. Darcy to come into Bennet Hollow and on his train have his rolling estate. That was Mansions on Rails. And this is coming in October. Again, it's something that you can pre-order. It's got all the versions, large print, I think, audio, Kindle, all the things are coming. And then there's a little goodie for you in the description if you do order it. Anybody who's ordered it, I have a little freebie for you. It's called Tea with Joanne and Jane. It's just a cute little PDF. And I'm gonna hit stop because I know this video is getting long. But once again, all the links are below. You can find me in different places. I hope you'll say hello in the chat. Hope you'll give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. I know it's hard when you're on a television. A lot of times my mom and I are watching Flosstube on TV. And she always says, give it a like, because she knows how much it means to hit that like button. It just means, I see you, I can't comment on my television, but you know, I'm glad we got to hang out. So I'm so thankful to know that there's some of you out there hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this WIP parade. I plan to be back after, it will be August when I'm back, Lord willing, after surgery. I have surgery on the 21st, which I let you guys know about in my last video. 100,000 thank yous for all of the prayers that have been coming my way. They are amazing. They're good medicine. I feel them, and I'm having surgery on the 21st. So if you think of me, I'd love to send some warm thoughts or a little prayer my way. I would be honored. And so I'll be taking a few weeks to recover after that. And then my hope, I know it sounds silly to make Flosstube plans. I don't do that in a way that creates pressure. It's just a way that creates joy. It's nice for me to think about filming a Flosstube. And so my hope is actually to do a finished parade, my first year of cross stitch, and show you everything that I've stitched from beginning to end of my first year of cross stitch in August, because I started in August. And without further ado, thank you for being here. Again, Joanne, the story stitcher in these little cricket overalls. It's been lovely to spend time with you. I hope to see you here again, and happy stitching. Bye, everybody.